some truths bury themselves. And when the light returns, it changes everything. It was here all along.
A groundbreaking new study just proved that vitamin D can cut heart attack risk by 50%, but it's actually revealing something much bigger. 85% of heart attack patients are vitamin D deficient. And it's not just them. People with diabetes, depression, arthritis, autoimmune conditions, they're all deficient. Now, what if I told you this isn't about needing more supplements, but about a fundamental breakdown in how our cells actually function? And what if there's already technology available today that addresses this cellular crisis affecting millions? Well, Jonathan Otto calls it nature's medbed, red light and PEMF therapy that doesn't just fix one deficiency, but transforms the entire cellular environment. Jonathan, this vitamin D study isn't just a tip of the iceberg, isn't it? Welcome back.
Oh, thank you so much, Gary. It's lovely to be here. It's not the answer. It's part of the answer. And I think that's what's so exciting, because at 50% risk reduction, it means that you've still got 50% chance on the other side that you're going to die, in basic numbers, you know what I mean?
Now, this Intermountain study, it actually showed 85% of heart attack patients are vitamin D deficient, but you say this deficiency shows up in diabetes, thyroid disease, depression, arthritis, almost every chronic condition. What's really going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're seeing with vitamin D deficiency is that there's a collection of issues that are happening, and vitamin D is one aspect of what you get from the sun, and yes, it's a hormone for those that don't know. And what we're seeing in the studies is groundbreaking, because fast forward, for example, I'll show you the data that we've found on the specifics when it comes to how, for example, thyroid disease has been turned around with using specifically light therapies. And we've uncovered studies on Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is such a common disease today. And if you see here, what we've got is a groundbreaking study on this very issue. So I'll check this out here, right? Here we go. So this is specifically here, heart health. We see that red light therapy is an example of getting a spectrum of light to the body that the body is missing, and by implementing the missing rays of light, we're not just activating vitamin D, we're activating many other healing factors. And there are studies, for example, showing that when you combine vitamin D with light therapy, the recovery is much more profound from many different conditions. And so one study in particular found a 96% of the Hashimoto's thyroid patients, females with an enlarged thyroid, went to having a regular sized thyroid within that 12-month study. So these are important pieces of data. We're seeing with whether it's diabetes, whether it's cognitive conditions. This is an example here. I won't go into too much detail, but this is the European Society of Medicine. People can read the title there, what it was specifically. This was an example where full recovery occurred after 4 sessions that were 64 to 84-minute long sessions of photobiomodulation, which is red light therapy. And after 3 days, they went into asymptomatic from all of the acute symptoms. And then after 4 sessions, they have a complete resolution of dyspnea, which is shortness of breath, ability to have oxygen above 97% in the blood. They had complete relief of digestive distress, elimination of brain fog, improved memory recall, restored executive function. I mean, that was 100% effective in 62 people for a life-threatening condition.
Goodness.
Yep.
That's profound. Jonathan, now the study participants, I guess they needed like 5,000 IU 8 times, which is the standard dose to get results. But you're saying taking mega doses of supplements misses the entire point. Explain how nature's medbed addresses the root cause instead.
Yeah, absolutely. So the issue here with a lot of these studies, Gary, is that they're looking at one therapy for one condition, and that, it's not the ultimate way. What you want to look at is treatments that get to the root cause of what's causing cellular dysfunction. Why are cells not operating properly? Why are we seeing a degeneration in all conditions? And you'll find that there's this mysterious interconnection between chronic conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, depression, anxiety on the mood disorder side, cancer, autoimmune conditions, chronic thyroid diseases. There's this wide range, broad-reaching problem that often somebody that has one issue has many others. And so what we're finding is once you get to that root cause of how cells generate energy, then you're able to fix this problem systemically versus putting a Band-Aid. Because why wasn't the body able to produce the vitamin D that it needed? Why do you need so much? And what, are you going to depend on that for the rest of your life and have to keep buying more and more things every single month and take these mega doses without letting your body naturally produce it, right? So then what we do through frequency-based medicine using what I'm referring to, which is clearly proven, nature's medbed, we're correcting the electromagnetic signals of the body. We're correcting the way the body it creates cellular respiration, which is how cells breathe. We're putting light into the cells, causing the mitochondria to generate ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, and that's how they generate energy. So then whether it's stroke, for example, here in this 2025 study, they found that near infrared and red light stimulating on the scalp, it will get into the mitochondria, the energy centers of brain cells, helping them produce more energy, repair damage, and reduce inflammation, oxidative stress, improve blood flow, and support the growth of new neurons and blood vessels. And so therefore, research in humans and animals is showing improvement in movement, speech, cognitive recovery after stroke. And these are life-threatening conditions. There's a clinical study from World Scientific Connect. These are the
I do want to jump in, because if anyone wants to just jump ahead and they want to take advantage of what you have available, there is a link in the description. That's an exclusive offer for Next News viewers. Continue, please.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you sharing that, Gary. I think that really what we need is solutions today. And one of the things that we've done that's really special is we let people try these therapies and get started. Like you'll see here on this study, 69.7% of the PEMF participants no longer had clinically significant insomnia by the end of treatment. So that's a huge percentage, and that's insomnia, which there's no real answers for that in mainstream medicine. And so you don't know whether it's going to work for you or not until you actually try it. And the studies are very clear. It gives you real evidence based on the fact that these are double-blinded placebo-controlled trials. If 96% of women went to having a normal-sized thyroid, then the percentage ratio is so high in your ability to put a chronic condition into remission. So we want to offer people these solutions to be able to get this in their homes. And that's why we've allowed people to get these at massive discounts. There's a study there specifically, and that was with 97 women. And they did combine, in this case, vitamin D, selenium, and then they reduced their need for medication. By the way, look at this. I mean, this was weight loss was dramatic. In waist to hip circumference, body mass index, the thyroid stimulating hormone, anti-TPO. These are significant markers, all improved. And so we want people to be able to get these in their homes. We have a 60-day money-back guarantee window. So try it. It's really, yeah, it's really cool to think about that. You literally could get better and then send it back.
Don't give people ideas, Jonathan.
That's really fair, right? But
keep the tag on it. Return it after the dance.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're welcome, right? So, man, how would we stay in business? But people, want to stay on things that change their lives.
Well, listen, let's be honest here. I use mine every day. My wife uses mine every day. So we have no intention of returning it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, the results we're getting are phenomenal. And I love my machine. I'm grateful to have one personally. So I've already taken my tag off, and there's no return policy for me. So that's about it.
Good. No, I'm glad, because we
I do.
A mission.
I do need to ask you, though, the red light and the PEMF, because we use both of them.
Yeah.
They don't produce vitamin D directly, but they do optimize the cellular function. Can you walk us through some of the proven conditions that this helps, like arthritis, eyesight problems, the C word, even Alzheimer's?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Look, what I love about this is that Normally you can't really, have one particular tool that would work for so many different challenges, and some of that is illustrated. For example, if you look into red light, you'll see that it's penetrating different layers of the body, and this is the reason why we put the 9 most proven wavelengths. We delivered the highest irradiance, which is over 200 milliwatts. By the way, if we went back to that thyroid study, it showed that it was 200 milliwatts, which is super uncommon. That's part of the reason why they got the results. So we combine high power delivery with the right wavelengths. And what's happening here is you're interfacing, getting through the dermis, the epidermis, the subcutaneous tissue, the muscle bone, interior tissues. You're landing at different points based on the color of light. And by interfacing with these areas of the body, you're increasing mitochondrial production, which is of the ATP, and you're creating all these other processes like reactive oxygen species that target disease cells and shut them down. And because of that, you're improving different conditions, like with erectile dysfunction and eyesight. You wouldn't think they have much in common, but they both are directly connected to nitric oxide and cytochrome C oxidase signaling. And so guess what happens when you put red light over the eyes for children? In fact, this was an example where it was 6,400 children over 41 clinical trials, and this was 2025. Red light was the #1 treatment to slow down eye growth and to stop vision worsening. And it was more effective than any other treatment. And it was improving the blood flow in the eye, reducing strain and inflammation, preventing the eyeball from elongating too quickly. So that was eyesight. And that was a lot of children. So, improving the eyesight of the children is critical. But then we see that come into heart health. And this was even dealing with scar tissue. There was
So I'll real back up real quick.
I want to hear
If I have astigmatism.
Yes.
If I had applied this when I was younger, I used to have to wear a patch over my eye. It was horrible going to school. Like second grade, right? Like,
yeah,
it was horrible. And I'm wondering, would that have helped? Because it talks about the eye growth or the eye growth and the elongation.
I would be shocked if it didn't. It's fascinating. The eyes are actually the easiest area to treat because it's your brain exposed. It's actually, eyes are part of your brain. Brain has the highest concentration of mitochondria per cell. So it's very easy to correct issues. Like, I'll give an example. The UCL University did a study on eyesight, and they just tested 3 minutes eyes open, then tested their eyesight immediately. And it was 17% improvement in eyesight immediately. Okay. So this is giving you real clues. And I'll give you other examples. I had a 92-year-old Joanne. She put it over her eyes. She regained vision. And I'm not saying this will happen for everyone. It happened for this woman. And if I did an FTC, collision, had a little fight with them, I could prove this 100%, which was she got her vision back that same day. So she could read for the first time in 6 years. And after a couple more weeks, she regained complete peripheral vision. She had lost it, so she was seeing out of tunnels, and she was doing repair on the macular degeneration that she had, and then she also had nerve damage, and she had diabetic nerve pain. She doesn't have any pain from that. So these are examples of the fact that yes, it absolutely could and should work. I can't make that claim, but you see how it was correcting abnormalities in the eyes in that study of 6,400 children. It's giving you clear clues that yes, eyes open, looking into the light, which is kind of shocking for people to hear, but just put those words into Google. You'll see the clinical studies. They've got their eyes open. They've got their eyes right up against the light. So good to know.
Well, I'm going to definitely apply that for my children because I know that glasses just run in our family, and if we can help, eyesight early on as they're developing, that's a huge, huge benefit.
Yeah, I love that.
But somebody watching, they may have like osteoarthritis, chronic wounds, fibromyalgia. The studies show 2 to 8 weeks improvement. So how does nature's medbed achieve what drugs just can't?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the things I love about the studies on fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, that not only is it extremely effective in short periods of time, like in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, there's periarthritis. This was just a 2-month period, which is 8 weeks. All treatment groups experienced less pain, reduced tenderness, better shoulder movement and function. Those receiving combined therapy showed the greatest and long-lasting improvements, which is a combination of PEMF and red light therapy. These studies are a little more rare where they put them together, but guess what happens if you went out into nature? You'd get both of these together. You would be getting red light in the pulse magnetic field of the earth. But the comparison, here's the weird part about it, Gary, the The red light device, this device, for example, will deliver up to and close to 40 times the amount of irradiance, so power delivery into the body. And you could tell that by how bright it is, right? Look at a sunset. That's the most healing part of the light. You could look at that directly, and it's not bright. It's quite dim. Whereas this is incredibly bright, not harmful at all. But you could tell the irradiance by even just visibly seeing it. But you could test that on meters. And the Earth's magnetic field, what we have in our devices, is about 1 million times greater in the amplitude, and I could show that as well.
Amazing.
And a similar amount of increase in the magnetic field strength. And so as a result, this is the reason why you're seeing such accelerated results, whereas people go out into nature frequently and they're not seeing these results because it's nature, but it's nature amplified. And that's where God making humans in his image, I think, really comes to the fore.
And that's to be clear, so our viewers understand, nature's medbed, what you're discussing here, is the specific combination of the PEMF mat and the red light.
Correct.
Together.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Yes, it's an amazing combo, and you could see that there in the studies. That combination is powerful. That being said, the study I just showed on insomnia was just PEMF. The study I showed on eyesight was just red light. The study I showed on stroke was just red light. So people shouldn't also feel like that's how you have to do it. You could choose, and if you had one tool that you just wanted to get, then you could choose one. And I could tell you, yes, Hashimoto's, you can't beat that result. I've never seen a study have better results than that. I never really see studies where 96% go into remission. It is so intense, right? So there's the 200 milliwatts of power, and that's why it's really exciting that we have that over that actually. And then this was 98 females, and here you've got an 820, which is near infrared. These are part of the wavelengths that we're using. And you mentioned the big C, and we could go there, and I could talk about this in a way that people can understand without it getting us in trouble.
Well, let's talk about the documentation, because we have it works for neurological conditions, Parkinson's, stroke, recovery, hearing loss, tinnitus.
Yep.
How is light therapy regenerating the neural tissue? I think that people really need to learn this.
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, the brain cells have a high concentration of mitochondria. In your organ cells, you'll have a couple of thousand, depending on how well or sick you are. You could have as much as 5,000 mitochondria in your thyroid, 2, 3, 4,000, or any other organ cell. They're in organ cells, not in red blood cells. So these mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cells. And when you're dealing with a brain issue, these neurological conditions, you're losing brain cells, and your blood flow is diminished. And what's happening with light therapy is that it's going into the brain. It actually does penetrate the skull, near infrared specifically, from 800 up to 1100. That's near infrared, and that's within that optical window, which is completely from 600 to 1100 nanometers. And by doing this, you're improving every aspect of cellular communication. You're helping the production of nitric oxide, this gas that the cells release, which is all part of how cells breathe. And that's why, think about how critical breath is. Like you're breathing right now. You're not drinking water right now. You're not eating right now. So you could see how important oxygen is. It's because it's important for the cells and for the cellular function. And that's why we're seeing these results in these certain conditions.
Now, the vitamin D crisis affects 2/3 of Americans, Jonathan, yet most doctors just say, take a supplement. Why is the medical establishment ignoring cellular dysfunction, and who benefits from keeping us sick?
Sorry. So go again. I had some little riffraffs come in again.
That's all right.
I thought I locked that door.
The vitamin D crisis, it affects 2/3 of Americans, yet most doctors say take a supplement. So why is the medical establishment ignoring cellular dysfunction despite all these studies, and who benefits from keeping us sick?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, it's simple in a way, right, to turn around these conditions, and yet, a simple solution like vitamin D is not being recommended. and by most doctors. And then those that do, like functional medicine doctors, you literally could spend $1,000 on a single consult. That's very common, and you could be on a 6-month waiting list. So functional medicine has become very sought after. And then yet they're still kind of another version of big pharma in a way. They're still giving these solutions that make you highly dependent. And so it's very hard to actually turn around these conditions long term. And so what we're seeing with this in data is that when people are harnessing regenerative therapies like light therapy, they're able to actually get the improvement they're looking for.
That's absolutely astounding. We're losing some connection
Yeah,
here.
no, that was an emergency alert that came over my. Those emergencies like the Amber Alerts.
Oh yeah.
It just tapped out my phone, which is the webcam. It's saying no, we got a problem, and I'm like, no, we don't.
Well, for our viewers who are suffering from any of these conditions, whether it's heart disease, cancer, diabetes, depression, chronic pain, what is your Nature's MedBed protocol that they can start today? Also, can people get this home affordably? I mean, do you have discounts that you're offering during Black Friday season?
Yeah, absolutely. So the good news is that people can get solutions. They can get ahead of this issue. And in terms of protocols, it's quite simple. If you look at all the studies, they generally range in that as little as 15 minutes a day. 30 minutes is even optimal. And you can see in nature, red light will appear twice a day for around those intervals. And so that ends up becoming a good way to understand how to replicate nature. And PEMF can be done for a similar amount of time. It can actually be done for longer. Like a lot of people are doing that for an hour before they go to sleep to get that most deep, restful, restorative sleep. And so I'm a huge fan of people doing that. People can then do this in combination where you've got both red light and PEMF at the same time, which is a high recommendation because again, this is a system that I'm saying that everyone needs to get into their homes, and we really owe it to ourselves to do that. And what we have as well, when you go, we've got a really a great page describing all of this at medbedhack.com. So that's really simple, medbedhack.com. And it's showing you how we've used the most high quality red light therapy and engineering with combination with pulse electromagnetic field to be able to perform these functions and use them in combination. And I'll show you what that looks like right here. And the codes that people can use are really simple. It's so that's showing you the pulse electromagnetic field mat, which has got all the specs that you're looking for, which is a combination of the photonic lights. So it does have actually red light in it. It has far infrared heat, as well as the PEMF, which is using a 150 millitesla magnetic field strength, which is the highest. It's clinical grade, but it's a consumer price. And then you've got the 1 to 30 hertz frequency range, which is profound. And then you could see these in combination here. Like I mentioned, there's the 205 milliwatts per centimeter squared at 3 inches. And as the codes are NNN 30 and NNN 25. So if it's a single device, it's NNN 25. And if it's a duo device, I'll just make that a little clearer there. There we go. That one's the 30. So anytime you're getting a combo device, one or more, you use that code and you'll activate that. And one of the really cool things, Gary, as well, is that the Hope for Cancer Center in Tijuana and Cancun, they're working directly with us. Tony Jimenez, you see, he the chief medical officer, wrote actually here on my book. It describes that Jonathan Otto as a formidable health advocate, and this book isn't just recommended, it's essential, and this book is a potential lifesaver. So he said some really kind things, and the products that he's got such confidence in our products that's what he's moving into his state-of-the-art facilities that people will literally spend $50,000 to spend 3 weeks there, right? So and so our device is getting rolled out there, and for the at-home care, for the follow-up. And so it's really good for people to know that, because and these are reputable people. You'll see that people like Dr. Brian Ardis, his whole team uses our device. Dr. Ed Group with Global Healing, he uses our devices. Sherry Tenpenny, like a lot of the big names, they're using our products because they're so world class and leading in.
Sherry Tenpenny, I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
Oh, that's awesome.
Last question before we go. We keep hearing about the futuristic med beds that are coming someday, but you're saying already nature gave us this technology. God gave us this technology. What is your message, your final message to people who are waiting for tomorrow's solutions while suffering today?
Yeah, I've got a good message for you on that. It's simple. The answers are here and now. And if you show my screen there, I'll give you an example of that. What we're seeing here is profound. Like if you look at this, like these before and afters, with what's happening with the big C. This is a great example because we could think, oh yeah, no, it's coming. But have a look at this. What we're seeing, whether it's PEMF, which is working directly here with the breast C cells, when they're exposed to this, it slowed their growth, triggered cell death, pushed them into a state called senescence, where they stop multiplying. And then the normal healthy cells weren't just unaffected, they actually showed signs of improved health and increased growth. That's what you want to see. And here you see that repeated. Now, here is red light with LED, which is non-flicker, right? So this is light-emitting diode, and this is what's showing up in all the studies. And in here, after 24 hours, it was a 40% drop in the proliferation of the triple negative and non-triple negative breast C cells. Okay, 40% drop in 24 hours. Okay, so now you come over and there's the clinical studies on the PEMF with those cells. Here's an example with prostate big C. And in this case, it was a 360% increase in putting this condition in remission, and this was Lancet Oncology, compared to the control group, and only 6% needed to get the removal. And remember, they weren't doing other therapies. They weren't doing PMF. They weren't doing other things that we'd recommend. And only 6% needed that, whereas it was 5 times higher in the control group that didn't do it. So what I'm saying is, yes, it's here and it's now. And the combination of these therapies are examples where you put something like this in your home and you change your family's life forever. You change, like if I buy this, supplement here, I've got to keep reordering this every month if I want to get the benefit. Typically, you'd have to get at least 4 supplements, and then you're at maybe $200 for the month. Over the year, you're at $2,400, and for a family of 4, you're up as high as $10,000. And now over the next 10 years, you're up at $100,000. And so people think that they don't realize how much they're spending on doctor's visits and on medications. And
it's all compounding. It just keeps growing, and you just keep throwing money at it. And here's a solution you can have in your home. And I'm thankful that we have ours that you gifted us, and it's been a blessing to our family. So, I mean, I'm so thankful for that. And I really want our viewers to take advantage. And that's why we always have you back, because you always have some new information. There's always a new study that we can point to and, break some news, because you have a solution for things that people are searching for, questions people are searching for, and it's already here. And that's where people, because it's so suppressed, you don't hear these. This is the only place you're going to hear these types of solutions. And that's why we bring you back on month after month, is because we need to get this information to people, and people need to get healthy. I mean, we got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's in Health and Human Services. I mean, that's a good start, but there's already solutions. We don't need to wait for government. We don't need to wait for big pharma. We don't need to wait for the next study that tells us we're going to have a heart attack. We don't have enough vitamin D, right? We have the solutions here to attack the root causes and energize our mitochondria. And I can tell you this, every time I lay in that thing, it feels like I'm getting an energy burst. It's like I'm getting a power up. And it's like that's just my personal feeling. And I know my wife has amazing results with the PEMF mat, and of course with the red light in combination. So it's just a blessing, and I want people to make sure that they have this opportunity. Jonathan, I want to thank you so much for joining us once again, and we'll look forward to having you back.
Thanks so much, Gary. I appreciate it. And just remember as well, for people that need payment plans, we have those there, whether you're in this country or international. And so what you would pay for one session in a month is what you would pay for one monthly payment, right? So think about that. And then you own the device. And you don't need one session a month. You need ideally every day. That's ideal. So you are saving so much, and we just want to make it possible. I want people to have better lives and better health. And I appreciate you having me on. And again, completely non-toxic, zero EMFs coming out of both devices, and so much more you can learn about at medbedhack.com. If there's more that you wanted to learn, go and read and learn about it there. I have a full presentation there. But this is, to me, is all the information people need to make a decision, because once you try it, you'll see what happened, exactly what happened for you and your wife. And I can't wait to hear the results. And please let Gary and I know, because it really touches us to hear those results. So thank you so much.
I will definitely do that, Jonathan. Thank you so much. So, Patriots, you've just learned that nature's medbed technology has been proven in peer-reviewed studies to help countless conditions. From arthritis relief in 4 weeks to Alzheimer's improvement in 8 weeks. This isn't hope, it's actually science. Jonathan Otto has shown us that whether you're fighting osteoarthritis, chronic wounds, fibromyalgia, stroke recovery, the C word, Parkinson's, or any of these documented conditions, nature's medbed addresses the root cause at the cellular level. Okay, the studies are published. Journal of Rheumatology, Lasers in Medical Science, Frontiers in Aging, Neuroscience. This is real stuff. So stop suffering while waiting for tomorrow's technology when nature's solution, God's solution, is here today. Visit medbedhack.com and make sure you use the codes NNN25 for 25% off on individual items and NNN30 for 30% off of bundled items. Or simply call 1-800-RED-LIGHT and join thousands who are experiencing the regeneration that thousands of peer-reviewed studies have proven. Jonathan has been here over and over again, and we're going to have him back. But we thank him so much for bringing us this evidence. Make sure you hit the links in the description.